Everyone, welcome back to DedeMed Training Kitchen. Today I'm going to be making one of the most requested recipes, Knafeh, but this is the Lebanese style Knafeh. It's also known as Knafeh Na'ameh, which means fine. Now, the difference between this Knafeh video and my other Knafeh video is that the crust on this one is very fine. The Kanafeh dough, which is the shredded phyllo dough, is actually ground up. I also add some breadcrumbs to it. It's really good. It's just as tasty and flavorful, but this one has a special surprise. Now, if you want this recipe or any of my other recipes, go to my website at DedeMed.com. You can join my Facebook, Twitter, and social networks so you can talk with other people about all these recipes. Now, let's go over the ingredients and I'll show you how to put it together. Here I have some atid or simple syrup. The recipe for this is on my website. I have some clarified butter. You can also use ghee butter if you have some. It's more authentic. I have some plain flavored panko breadcrumbs. They actually have no flavoring. They're just really good at making dough. I have some ground up pistachios for garnish. I have milk. I have some farina. I have some fresh mozzarella cheese that I soaked in some water. And I have the Kanafeh dough. Now, back in Lebanon, if you want to make this, the dough, you can actually find it in the grocery stores. There's a lot of different secrets about this dough, and actually a lot of the pastry chefs in Lebanon will not give you the recipe. It's part of the secret group of Lebanese chefs. But I found out a recipe. It's really easy. It's kind of my combo, but it works really well and it tastes amazing. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with about half a pack or 8 ounces of the Kanafeh dough. I just want to shred it up. And what we're going to do with this is I'm going to process it in the food processor just until it's really, really, really fine. So just rip it apart. I do it into a bowl just so I don't get it everywhere. It's kind of like shredded, really fine noodles. So you can put this away and you can save the rest and just freeze it up for later. I'm going to put this in my food processor and just grind it up real quick. I'm done grinding it up and I want to show you how fine it is. So it's really fine. I blend it for about 2 minutes. Now, I get a lot of questions asking me what kind of food processor I have. I have a Cuisinart. It is amazing. It is a little bit expensive. It runs a couple $100, but honestly, it's the best investment I've ever made. It actually has a 20-year warranty, so I know no matter what happens, I'm going to have my food processor. Now, back to the food. To this, I'm going to add my breadcrumbs. And I'm going to add the butter. So I'm going to stir that all in together. Now for this, I'm going to add about a half cup of my simple syrup. See that? Look how nice and combined it is. It looks amazing. Just get a half a cup. And just mix it up really well. So what I have here is 2 pans. The reason why I have 2 pans is because I'm going to use this top pan to compress the crust really, really tightly. I want it compacted really, really well. I'm just going to pour it in there. I'm not going to bake it with this at all. I'm just going to use it. So in goes the dough to the pie crust. Just like that. You want to press it down and around the edges, and then we're going to use a pie crust, the other pan, to compress it really, really tight. You can also use this with a pair of gloves. You're really tight. So just like that. Make sure you. Okay. So when I get this, I pack it in. See, that pulls it really tightly together. That is. Just like that. Just want to make sure it's really tight because you don't want the crust to fall apart when you flip it over. We're going to flip this over and make it look really nice. So just keep working with it until it's done. Now, the cheese, I've been soaking it for a couple of hours. The reason why I soak it is because I want to make sure I get all the salt out of the cheese. Now, if you live in an area where there are Middle Eastern or Mediterranean or Greek stores, you want to use Akawi cheese. It's A-C-K-A-W-I. That is actually the authentic cheese that they use to make the Knafeh. So if you can find that, use that. I'm using this because I want to make sure that everybody will be able to make this no matter where you are. And mozzarella is a good substitute. So we're just going to pat these dry, and then we're going to process them in the food processor because I want them nice and crumbly. We're just going to process this until it's nice and crumbly. So just empty your cheese into a bowl. Make sure you get it all out. Just like that. Next, you want to get a pan. You want to pour your milk into the pan very carefully. And you want to heat it up until it's almost boiling. When it's to that point, we're going to add the farina to it and just stir it up for a couple of seconds. Then we're going to come and we're going to pour it onto our cheese mixture and mix it up. So my milk is almost to the boiling point. I'm going to slowly add in my farina, mix it in. Let it cook for just about 2 or 3 minutes and then pour it over my cheese. Just stir up your cheese, it's going to get nice and melted. So, we're going to get our pie crust, and we're going to pour our cheese mixture over our pie crust. Get it all in there. And just spread it out. What we're going to do is we're going to put this in the oven and we're going to bake this for about 35 minutes. You want to check on it at about 20 minutes and you want to see the color of your pie crust. You want to see when it gets a nice dark golden brown. Not burnt, not dark brown, but a dark golden brown. I'm going to put it in the oven at 400 degrees. Our Knafeh is done. I let it sit for about 20 minutes after I took it out of the oven. I'm going to have you zoom in and I want you to look at this color. Look at that color. Do you see? I don't want it to fall out of the plate. Can you see it? Look how nice and brown it is. Got a little bit brown on top and it's nice and golden brown on the bottom. It's perfectly amazing. Now, you just want to take a knife and you want to run it around the edges just like that, just to make sure that nothing is stuck. You want to present it in a really pretty plate. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this plate, I'm going to sit it on top of the Knafeh, and we're going to flip it over right onto it. just like that, our Knafeh is done. And tap it down. Oh my gosh, it's absolutely amazing. You want to let this cool just a little bit more, but you want to make sure you serve it warm so that the cheese stays melted. This is, I mean, the smell, you can smell the butter and you can smell the phyllo dough, and it's so nice and toasted brown. It really is amazing. But before you serve it, you want to make sure to decorate it really pretty, because you have this nice little palette that you can just decorate. So what I like to do is just put some of the pistachio like that, and then you can put it a little bit there. If you have some candied orange peel, that looks beautiful on this as well. And then you're going to get some of your syrup and just pour a little bit of syrup around it. And the crust and everything will absorb the syrup. It's really amazing. It's a very authentic dessert. Everybody's going to love it. You can make it in advance, and just before you serve it, all you want to do is you can either put it over like a water bath. If you have a different kind of a plate that you can set over a water bath to keep it warm, or a steamer, or even like one of those little candles, if you want to put that just beneath it to keep the cheese nice and warm. That's your Knafeh, Lebanese Knafeh. It's amazing, it's easy to make, and I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Go to my website, DedeMed.com, and I'll see you again.